Okay, I actually, I'm on break at work, but I have a question. Um, what exactly is wisdom? Because, okay, so I've been studying, like at work, I've been listening to the Bible and I've been on Proverbs and Psalms, and usually, like I've read Proverbs, at least all the books, at least like a dozen times, at least, maybe 2 dozen. But something, the Holy Spirit really spoke to me today, and this is kind of blowing my mind. So, in Proverbs 8, okay, sorry about the traffic going by. I'm just taking a stroll because I had to sit most of the day. So, I'm trying to get my exercise in. Anyway, so the Bible talks about wisdom, and it personifies her. It personifies wisdom as a woman, right? And I'm like, that makes sense. And not just because I'm a woman, but the way God talks about wisdom and correlates it to how women are in general and to a wife, to me that makes sense. However, I was reading it or listening to it again, and that's not what wisdom is. Like, at first it sounds poetic because it's like, Proverbs, they start off with like, oh, don't you hear me calling out to you? I'm screaming at the top, come find me, whatever. But then it starts going into, I was there before everything happened. I was there before, I was the first thing basically that God created. Like, it literally says, let me make sure, I'm trying to cross the road here. Get off of that heavy traffic. Anyway, so in Proverbs 8, it says, it started off saying like, don't you hear me calling out to you? Like, I'm basically this, like, if you find me, you'll find long life, you'll find riches and glory, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into, I was there in the very beginning. I was one of the first things God birthed. I was there when he, created the earth and the waters within the earth. And, it also says that as wisdom, it's like, prudence dwell with me. And I looked up prudence. Prudent mean basically like having caution about the future, right? So like planning and thinking thoughtfully about the future, right? That makes sense to me also, being paired with wisdom. But it said wisdom dwell with me. Again, initially, having read this before, I was thinking, oh, the author is just being very poetic because, people tend to personify a lot of different things that we say naturally when they're thinking is this way artistically. But spiritually, this was hitting me different because it was talking about how it was delighted when God created humans and how it's delighted every single day to see us and how it calls to us, right? And I'm just thinking, like, what if this is not a personification at all? Like, what if this is actually like an actual being? Now, I know the Bible also says that God has a spirit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Those are actually spirits. You can look that up. But this Proverbs 8 seemed to elaborate how wisdom is expressing itself as something more than just a spirit. And maybe, this is just mind-blowing to me. Maybe somebody else has something else different, but I need somebody to offer an explanation, or did they get this revelation too? But I'm thinking Like if you really study Proverbs 8, wisdom is not just some thing we gain like through living life. Like it's an actual being that God created before it created basically everything else. So it was there right next to God, you know, as God was creating. It said I was one of the first things that God birthed. Okay, and then they got me thinking, God does say gain wisdom. He don't say gain, he does say gain me, but he also says to gain wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Meaning these things are separate from him. He created them, but they're separate. And then it got me thinking, what does wisdom actually look like in the spirit? But anyway, this is just so amazing to me. Here's a nice tall tree. Anyway, this is just so amazing to me and it's blowing my mind. And I don't know, I just wanted to let somebody know, like, I don't know, I'm just really excited because I never thought about wisdom like this. Like, I just, you read over Proverbs and you memorize some verses, but this is really blowing my mind right now. I'm really thinking like, it was there before the creation of the 7 days. Like it watched it happen. So what does it look like for real? That's what I'm thinking. What does wisdom look like? And how do we obtain it? Study Proverbs 8 and let me know what you think. Because I don't know. I just want to see what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. Okay, bye. See you later.